Alright, so I had a question about Module 8, Lesson 1, Problem 4. That's Module 8, Lesson 1, Problem 4. And this might be the hardest problem in the course. And so what it wants you to do is it wants you to test for normality. In other words, does the frequency distribution follow a normal distribution? Remember what a normal distribution is? It says most of the frequency, most of the values. In this case, it's 200 test scores. So 200 students took test scores, and if most of the values occur in the middle, so most of the students score in the middle of the range, and then a few score way above the middle, and a few score way below the middle, that's a normal distribution. And so we need to test this normality using a chi-square goodness of fit test to test for normality. So how we test for normality is, of course, with the null hypothesis, assuming that it does have a normal distribution, and the alternative says that it does not have a normal distribution. Okay, so first thing we got to do is we got to find the expected frequency. Now, to find the expected frequency, the first thing we got to do is we got to find the probability. But to find probabilities for a normal curve, you might remember to find probabilities you have to use the normal table, but to get the normal table you have to find z-scores. So we have to find the z-score, and how do we find z-scores is you got to take each one of these individual values and subtract it from the mean and then divide it by the standard deviation. But we don't know what the average test score is, so that's our first task, is to find the average test score. So I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to follow the view an example. I'm going to show you how to do what they do and view an example in Statcrunch. So there they go through and explain just what I said before, that you need z-scores. But to get a z-score, you have to find the mean. So let me show you how to find the mean using Statcrunch. So to find the mean using Statcrunch, and eventually we're going to need standard deviation, so I'll show you that as well. So there's how they find the mean and how they find the standard deviation. I'm going to show you how to find the mean and standard deviation on our problem using Statcrunch. So open the values in Statcrunch. For some reason, they split the lower and upper bounds. And you can see there's the lower bound and the upper bound, lower, upper. I don't know why they did that. I don't like that. We need to actually combine the two. So how we're going to combine is go to Data, go to Arrange, and then Combine. And we want to combine the lower and upper bounds. So select lower, hit Shift, upper, and then we want to customize that and put a dash in between there. Okay, so that should do it, and that should make a new column that is called Combined. There it is. That way we can find the mean using Stat, Summary Stats, Grouped Bin Data. Our bins are in the Combined column, and the counts are in the frequency column. And the midpoint is defined by the average of the limits. That's perfect. And this should give us the mean and standard deviation. So there's the mean. There's the standard deviation. So 69.43. I'm just going to make note of that. Oops. The mean is 69.43. I'll have to go 3 decimal places. And the standard deviation is 8.239. 8.239. Okay, that's good. And now we can find the z-score of these lower and upper bounds. So we'll go ahead and find that. So how we're going to find the z-score from the upper and lower bounds is we'll use the z-score formula. And the z-score formula says we'll take each one of these values, subtract it from the mean, and divide it by the standard deviation. So we will do that, but we have to create a, let's see, where is it? We have to create a, oh goodness, where is it? Got to create an expression. If I can find it, I'm sure it's right in front of my face. I think it's under stat. Oh goodness, where is it? Create an expression. Maybe it's under data. Oh good grief, where is it? Where do we create an expression? Alright, well, I'm going to pause the video and come back when I find that. Alright, so how we're going to find the z-scores is we're going to create an expression, and that's under Data, Compute, Expression. And we're going to do that for the lower and upper bound. So we will build an expression with the, get the parentheses going here, because we want the lower bound minus the mean. Let's see, remember what the mean was. It was 69.435. 69.435. Close the parentheses, so we want all of that divided by the standard deviation, which was 8.239. 8.239. We want all of it. Okay, so that should be good. And that will give us all of the z-scores for our lower bounds. There it is. Now in this next column, we're going to get the z-scores of the upper bound. So same thing, compute expression, I wonder if I could just build that, and instead of lower bounds, just do upper bounds. Let's see if I can do that quickly. That looks good. Uh-oh. Okay, that should do it. Alright, so there's the z-scores for the lower bounds, the z-scores of the upper bounds, and why we need that is so that we can find the probabilities that correspond to each one of those. So let's take each one of those and find the probabilities using our normal calculator. So in Stat, go to Calculators and go to Normal Calculator, and we will find, let's see if I can do this here. Probably should create a column. Create a new column here. Let's call this lower probability. What I'm going to do is from the normal calculator, Stat, Calculator, Normal Calculator, I'm going to put in the z-scores when the mean is 0 and the standard deviation 1. When the mean 0 and the standard deviation is 1, that's called the standard normal. And then you can use these z-scores. That's why we did the z-scores in the first place. Alright, and I am just going to Control C. Let's see if it'll let me paste. Control V, sure enough. Okay, and then I will just copy and paste this. Control C. Control V, right in there. And then I'm going to do that for each one of those. Control C. Control V, compute. Alright, so I'm going to do that for each one of those. Let me pause it and come back when I have completed that for the lower and upper bounds. Okay, I got the lower probabilities all done. Now I do the upper probabilities. So here's the upper probabilities. Uh-oh. think I might have done the upper probabilities instead. Uh-oh. Oh, stink. Alright, I cleaned up the lower probabilities. Now the upper probabilities. Same thing. I take the z-score from the upper bounds that I found, copy it, and paste it right into the probability. So paste it right in there, see what I get. There is the probability given the z-score. So I can put that right there. And then you can see that this is the same thing as this, and that's true with all of these. They are going to be the same as that. So that means that really the only one that I have to find is this guy right here. Copy that, paste it right into there. See what we got. Okay. So now I have all of my probabilities. And now to find the what they call the area, area I find the area is we take the upper probability minus the lower probability. So let's see if Statcrunch can help us do that using the expression. Compute data, compute expression, and let's build that, and let's do the upper probability minus the lower probability. Let's see if that works. There it is. There's the upper probability minus the lower probability. Put it in a different place, so not a big deal. Alright, there it is. Upper probability minus lower probability. That is the area that that they refer to in the question help. Let me show you question help. Continue it all the way. There's the standard deviation we found. We found all the z-scores. There it is. Upper bound minus the lower bound equals the area. So we did that. We got all of the area. And now we can take the area times the area times n to find the expected frequency. Okay, so let's build another expression to do that. Looks like we're about out of time, so I'm going to stop this and then make a new video in just a bit.